Okay, so we are back with the GoPro Hero 8 that's over here on the right side and the GoPro Hero 7 Black, and we're doing a sound test. We're testing the internal microphones of both of these cameras, and we're going to do some from the front and the back, and specifically with two people.
Yeah, and a little caveat is that the GoPro 8 now can mount with no cage to muffle the microphones, while for the 7 you still have to use the cage. So we have it with the original GoPro cage just for fairness.
Yes.
This is what you can get out of these two, out of the box.
And another thing is the GoPro Hero 8 Black has a microphone pointing straight at us. So I would assume that that will do better than the Hero 7 Black, which does not have a microphone pointing straight at us.
Yeah, let's see.
So this is the test. So let's walk forward and see what it sounds like.
So yeah, now we're behind the camera, and before, I think on the 7 for sure, the sound behind the camera was better than in front.
Yeah, and so that's actually part of the problem that we're trying to solve as GoPro vloggers. There are two of us. So vlogging by yourself is one set of challenges, but with two people, it's even harder to equalize that sound.
Let's try a little bit of a switch now, if you go on this side.
Yep. So now I'm closest to the Hero 7 Black. Hero 8 Black is a little bit further away from me, but we'll see if they can still pick me up.
Yeah, and which one does it better and so on. This should be a pretty fair test, except there's a small little alteration of where exactly we are.
Yeah, that's why for fairness we're trying to switch sides. And I do have a softer voice, so your voice is always louder than mine.
Right.
So you being closer to the camera would mean that, you know, you're picked up even more. But yeah, this is a test for not only you guys, but for us as well, because we are really curious about what the internal mic in the GoPro Hero Black is capable of.
Yeah, once in a while the sound fails and you actually have to fall back to the normal, internal sound. And it's good if it's improved on the 8, we're hoping.
Just happened on my Canon 90D review, which we filmed with the Hero 7 Black, and we had the Rode Wireless Go. It's even visible in the frame, but I'm editing it yesterday and I'm listening to it, I'm like, that mic wasn't working, so we had to rely on the Hero 7 Black's internal mic. It worked pretty well, but it picked up a lot of ambient noise. It's 2019, and never did I ever think I would be reviewing a DSLR on this channel, but guess what? We have all these cameras in front of me, and the one that we're really going to talk about today is this one, the Canon 90D.
Yeah, and then once it detects that there's noise around you, it gets really brutal with the algorithm to correct it, and it muffles you hard.
Right.
So it has impact, a lot of impact.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons why we don't like to use the internal mics, because you most likely will get a lot of wind. So you want the auto wind reduction, but when it does that, it fluctuates the sound too much.
Yeah.
So by using an external mic, you can use a dead cat or a wind muff, and that really does do a really good job of blocking out that noise.
Yeah, speaking of wind, I can feel a little bit right now. So it is like a few miles per hour wind, very little, but it's still there. So it makes you wonder what these cameras will do. Both of them are on the automatic setting for correction, and we shall see. Now, I've flipped it, and I'm closer to the 7, and you're closer to the 8.
Yep, closer to the 8 now. So yeah, we're standing behind it
to see how it sounds, because I do suspect they may differ a little bit.
I would expect that, yeah, the Hero 8, it should have a better internal mic. They definitely switched the placement of the mics around, which will make a difference. And next month, hopefully, if they're on schedule, we should be getting the media mod, which allows us to extend or actually add a microphone jack to the Hero 8. So that'll be an interesting test as well.
Now we're down at the lake where there's a lot more car noise and wind.
Right, so Hero 7 Black is closest to me, Hero 8 Black is on the right side here, and yeah, we're gonna see how this internal mic stands up to car noise and wind noise.
That's right, yeah. So I'm closer to the 8.
And so you can see what it is that we're doing right here. Take a little photo. Right now we're traveling with just these 3 cameras, so just the 2 GoPros and a phone. And sometimes you just want to go really light like that. You don't want to carry the big mirrorless cameras and big lenses, so that you can, enjoy yourself.
That's right.
Some
so
exercise.
Let's see if I'm behind the camera and you're in front, what happens. Here in Lake Washington and nearby Stewart Park is a really good place for bird watching, which we've kind of picked up a liking to lately. So what birds have you seen around here?
So we just saw a blue jay, which they're pretty dark blue in color, but they're pretty easy to spot if you hear them. And that's the great thing about fall, is that all the leaves are falling off the trees. So if they make bird calls, you can actually see them in the trees. So they're a lot more visible.
Yeah, and the other thing is the birds change now because some of them went south and others came from north.
Yeah, so you get some migrating birds. So I just saw a northern flicker the other day, which is a giant cousin of the woodpecker, and they actually look really pretty, but I guess they're fairly common.
What did it look like?
It was kind of hard to describe. It was like 3 different shades of colors, had like patches or like dots on its chest. It was a really distinct looking bird, so that was a pretty cool one to see. And just saw a heron actually. It landed over here, and there's a bunch of these tiny, I think they're little ducks. Or
Yeah, what are
ducks.
those things?
I actually don't know. I could probably check eBird. Okay, so we're here at Lake Washington in South Seattle, and we're replicating an interview scenario. So tell us about the weather right now.
Yeah, the weather now is typical fall weather here in the Northwest, and normally we get a bad reputation, but we really enjoy the fall.
And why do we enjoy the fall?
Because it is really picturesque with all the color in the lowlands here, and Washington turns very beautiful yellow and red. And also the weather actually is not as wet as you may think.
I think it does depend, because yesterday it was raining all day, and today like we just have a little break in the clouds. And the thing with rain too is that it actually makes the temperature warmer.
But it wasn't real rain yesterday, it was more like a moisturizer,
Yeah.
a humidifier.
Yeah.
It's actually really nice and refreshing.
Yeah, so we actually have different degrees of rain as well compared to like the Midwest or Chicago where it downpours. Here you have that constant mist, which can get a little depressing after a while, but
It's the gray and the dark, so that's the one part I don't like. The days become really short right now.
yeah. Alright, so now we're doing a single person vlogging test with the internal mics on the Hero 7 Black and the Hero 8 Black. And we'll see if I'm vlogging by myself, if the sound can be picked up pretty well. And you know, we just love the GoPro for vlogging. The Hero 7 Black has been our #1 vlogging camera, but we have had to extend it by adding an external microphone. Because of these algorithms that, you know, cause our voices to fluctuate and not pick up 2 people at the same time. But I do have high hopes that the Hero 8 Black will allow us to vlog solo and without the need of an external microphone, which is important if we ever need to waterproof this camera and take it outside.
The main reason we like vlogging with the GoPro is that you can go and do things with it. So whatever you do with it has to be okay in normal environments, not controlled environments. A lot of people vlog in places like their bedroom or whatever else, a studio. And for that, internal mic is absolutely sufficient. But what we want to do is be out in the field, in the real world, and get good sound. So we're trying to see whether the GoPro 8 makes significant improvements in that. All right, let's try a little bit of a jogging to see what sound we get while we're running. Let's go forward first. I'm using the Hyper Smooth Boost and I'm running, and so let's see how the wind entering the mics is going and everything else like that. Is the sound useful as you're doing some more action? I know for biking, for example, people often have a lot of noise from the gravel and so on. And here's when it's facing me, I can still talk. Let's see what we get out of this.
I feel like I should go.
Yeah?
Yes.
Go then.
So I feel like when we've looked at our footage before with Hypersmooth, there's a pretty clear difference in me being stabilized versus Martin being stabilized, because we walk, or we have different gaits in our walk. And I know for a fact that I have a bouncier gait than most other people. So for Hypersmooth, it's really interesting to watch because our background will actually be stable, but I'll actually be bouncing a lot. So we'll see how that turns out. Okay, so I'm jogging and I'm standing behind the GoPro, and we'll see how much this is shaking things. And I'm gonna turn it around. So now I'm vlogging and jogging, and I don't know who actually does this, but maybe there's somebody out there that actually does it, besides the everyday dad. Oh no!
All right, let's see if this changes anything, because I know for a fact Susie's bouncy like a rabbit when she runs. I'm a little bit more stable, more so when we walk actually, but when I run it should be still visible. And here's when I walk.
Okay, so hopefully this gave you a pretty good idea of what it's like to vlog with these cameras, with the internal mics, both standing in front and behind, and with two people as well.
All right, see you back
In the lab. See you in the next video.